All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Arena podcast, aka the WAPcast.
Wow.
Today, Firas and I are joined by SWC commentator extraordinaire, Stoic. What's going on, man?
Greatest hair,
Going on?
greatest beard in commentary
A
history.
staple of SWC.
A staple,
Apparently.
what a term.
It's a beard staple now. Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
How's it going? Thanks for joining us.
Yep, good to be back. Since we're here on the podcast, I'll bring up my favorite quote this year as the guy with no inside voice. That's my favorite quote this year. I always get a favorite.
Was that
That's
someone
my
in
favorite
chat
one.
or like Reddit or
That
something?
was a
What was
comment.
that?
That was a comment on
Can you
YouTube.
elaborate on that, please?
So what did someone was caught? I'm not gonna say whose video it is, irrelevant. But what they're saying is like they weren't a fan of the casting in this place, and the comment under that was, "What? You're not a fan of the guy with no inside voice?" And I'm like immediately, that's me. That's me. Like, okay, yeah.
I'm lost. What does it mean by inside voice? Like
do they know that like you're coming out of their speaker and their speaker has like a volume control? Is that
I don't know. I know where it's coming from though. And it's because of how we transition. So, all right, if people wanted to tune into a chess match, by all means, tune into a chess match. But if you don't like that, I am speaking excitedly. Like apparently, some people have issue with it.
Yeah, well, it's like it's like kind of like the sports format where it's like you're more like you're the color commentator, and Bud is more the analytical side. Like that's how every casting duo in every sport ever that you'll watch is.
Yeah.
Like, one guy's shouting about the dunk that just happened, and the other guy's saying what this dude's field goal percentage is. Like that's how it goes.
And that's how it should. I think since we're on this topic, because I remember speaking about this before, but not on podcasts, but like in general on I think my stream, and people would like, "Oh, Stoic's an idiot because he doesn't know blah blah blah," and I'm serious. And then
it was me. I was in this chat.
And I'd be like, then those. This was a couple years ago, so this was when only Chris and yourself were doing the commentary, and then they would say something about Chris. Oh, he said something wrong, blah blah. I'm like, you guys need to understand that this is a live event. It's going on. They're not gonna get everything right. Sometimes Chris says something wrong. That's expected. Sometimes Stoke will say something wrong. That's expected. But they don't understand like what the entertainment like. You and Chris are like my favorite duo so far in casting. No offense to anyone else that's ever done casting, but I really enjoy the Stoic Chris casting dynamic. I really do enjoy it. You get a little bit of everything in it.
It's not easy.
It's not.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't think anyone thinks it's easy.
No, I think people do think it's easy. That's why we have to.
I think people do think it's easy as well. Like they think it's up there. It blows my mind where they're like, Stoic just repeats what Make It a Bud says, and they'll be like, Make It a Bud just repeats what Stoic says. If anyone ever heard of like transitioning, like speaking in transitions, but also we're remote. It's not easy to cast remote. Like forget about casting in general. We're casting remote. Because it'll be like, wow, massive damage, and then Make It a Bud be like, yeah, massive damage indeed, enabling to open up, blah blah blah. You know, it goes on and on. But like, we'll repeat, we'll take like the last word of what they said, and then move it on and like segue it into another thing, and then into another thing, and it's like this big thing. But what that does, it also allows you time to think.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's just conversation 101. Like you'll do that with someone that you're just talking to. It gives you a second to process. It's like when you say what to somebody. When you heard what they said, but you say what just like instinctively, it's like your brain buying you time to think about what you're about to say after it.
But stop shit talking the casters. I think they're both doing a great job. I'm saying this to chat. If someone in chat's shit talking to casters, I actually, when I do watch SWs, like when it's in my time frame to watch it, I will watch Comtuus's version most of the time because I actually care to listen to you two. You and Chris, not music.
No, there was a pretty funny thing that came out of it though, because I don't know. I've known about this mechanic for a while, but I guess like it hasn't been super relevant because people don't usually use Soul Protect. But now that like Shizuka's good, obviously you see Soul Protect almost every game. At least in like High Guardian, Shizuka's in every single match, pretty much.
95%.
Yeah, and like I guess I didn't actually see this one live, but I guess like somebody tried to strip something that Shizuka had soul protected, stripped the soul protect, but the thing came back. And then I think this is the mechanic. That only happens with oracles. There is no other strip in the game that unit would come back. Only an oracle strip, for whatever reason, kills the unit first. So you can't, now they are dead. Soul Protect is on their head. You have not stripped yet. It shows that you get that strip, like it shows you removing that buff, but they come back anyway. It's only on oracles. But like when that happened, I guess Make It a Bud, maybe it was even you. I don't know. I didn't actually watch the actual live match. I didn't hear you guys, but someone like either you or Make It a Bud was like, "Oh, when you strip a Soul Protect, they still come back." And so a bunch of people were like, "Holy crap, I didn't know that," or whatever. But what they didn't realize is that is only because it was a Juno that tried to do it. Any other unit, like if you Miles something, if you...
that was my example.
Anything.
I've done it so many times where
I'll
strip Soul Protect on Miles and then murder them in the same time.
Exactly.
They don't revive back.
And it's just more of that Oracle buggy thing. They're the only unit in the game who strips and then gets an automatic debuff that has no other res check. They're the only unit in the game that strips Soul Protect and somehow kills it first. Because if you think about it, every unit strip does the damage first. That's how it works. If you hit something that is invincible, no matter what unit you are using, you do no damage. Even if you strip that invincible in that hit, you do no damage because the damage comes first. But for whatever reason, oracles can't kill things with Soul Protect. It's like, it's the strangest little mechanic, but like I guess a lot of people didn't know about that because like after that, in someone's chat, it was like this big thing, like, I can't believe I didn't know you couldn't strip units with Soul Protect and kill them. And it's like, no, you can, just don't do it with Braha or Juno. Like, then you're good. Or Gianna.
But do we know if that works with Gianna as well?
Yeah, it's all four of the oracles. So everybody but Ciara, basically.
God damn it.
But useless. It makes absolutely no sense, but it was like a cool thing that kind of got like brought to light by that, because people were like, wait, you can't strip Soul Protect? And it's like, no, you can with anything else. Which is it's really screwy. Like it just goes to show, like, I don't know, Oracle strips are just completely wonky the way they're coded. Like, remember when they accidentally gave Gianna a second AC res check for like a week, and it's like,
wasn't that like a good time for players? Yeah, a bad time for
right owners? But it was like, how did you accidentally change Gianna's coding on her, like accidentally? That makes no fucking sense.
Well, wasn't what came out was people thought that it was supposed to be a Gianna nerf that accidentally went live, and they're like, this can't be like what's happening to Gianna, like, if only.
And they're like, nope, sorry, we're putting it back. And it's like, what? No. Wait,
somebody had to have coded that.
Wait, stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just makes you wonder, like, how much stuff is just like by accident. Like, were oracles ever supposed to only be one act check? Like, what made them decide on that? I don't know. Because people used to say, like, oh, it's because the strip was, like, conditional. Like, the debuff was conditional to the strip. And those used to be, like, some of the only units that had that. But now we have other units that have conditional debuffs to strips, and they don't do it. Like, Daphnis doesn't automatically defense break. I wish he did. He only he only does that when he strips, but he can sure as hell miss that defense break. So it's really weird.
You're right. Maybe Shizuka was supposed to be Seimei, and Seimei was supposed to be Shizuka. Like, maybe that'll get
maybe that was an accident.
That's some hard copium if I've ever heard any.
I would be super annoyed though if Seimei's passive was something that like 90% of players had access to just fling at you when you picked like a Wusa or something. It's like, come on, like, I'm sick of this thing. That would suck. But anyways, we got new units this week.
Right after last week's WAP we got the unit dropped the next day. Everyone thought it was gonna be Monday, ended up being on Sunday.
Yeah.
Which ended up being a bad thing for me, but a good thing for pretty much everyone else. But
yeah,
we
were told it was going to be Monday. That's like the first time ever they've given us a hard date, 29th, and then here they are on the 28th. Like, what? What's happening? But it was, I mean, it's cool. I'd rather have it early than late. I mean, that's usually how those things go, is you get them late if it's moved at all. Yeah. But what are you guys' first impressions? We got 21 new units and they're immediately usable in RTA, which is kind of crazy.
Oh my god.
So I think they did that because of how Street Fighters went not last year, but the
2 years ago. Yeah. Yep.
2 years ago. So when the Street Fighters came out, there was a lot of like bad smoke Comptos got, and it was that they weren't usable in RTA. So everybody was spending money on these units, and maybe Comptos looked at it like maybe people would spend more money if they could use them right now.
Maybe.
So that's probably why they're live, because as speculation going into this collaboration, we were saying it everywhere, like these are not going to be usable in SWC, just like the Street Fighters were.
Well, we only had one.
They didn't want it to be a whale contest going into SWC, like whoever spends more might get something broken or whatever.
Yeah.
But we only had one to compare with, right? Or only one collab to compare with, so it was like most likely they're going to follow suit. But now the next collab, well, first one we didn't get to use them. Next one we could use them. Third one, who knows? It's up in the air. It'll be 50-50.
Maybe the game shuts down the day after. Who knows?
Who knows?
As for 21 introduced units, though, I feel like the cookies might be in a better position to where the Street Fighters were first introduced.
Yeah, they stunk.
Like I think we have better cookies than we had Street Fighters.
Yep.
When they first came out.
Yeah, and the only thing too, like when it comes to like the collab side, which is really just the consumer friendly way of saying advertising, right? This is just Cookie Run Kingdom advertising to Summoners Wars audience, right? They're paying comp to us to show their units. With something like Street Fighter, that's a type of company who's going to be like, they're going to say in their contract, you are not releasing your version of the unit alongside our big collab. You know what I mean? Like you don't want, and this was probably a company that Comtois had a little more like sway over, like as far as the terms of the contract, where it's like, look, we've got an entire server. It's the highest population country in the world, in China. They're not going to have your units. We want to fucking release new unit packs to our largest population server. Like, I'm sure it went something like that in negotiations, where it's like, we're not doing your fucking collab if you don't let us sell packs in China, because that's just way too much money on the table.
Is Capcom US based mainly? Like they're
Japanese, I think.
Yeah.
Capcom's Japanese.
I'm pretty sure Capcom's Japanese.
So let's say like I know Cookie Run Kingdom, or just the Cookie Run IP, if you want to word it that way, is mainly Asia based. Like
they're Korean.
They're Korean.
Oh, it's a Korean company?
Yeah.
So I guess they understand very well how it is with China. I'm surprised Japan, if Capcom, like if it was, they were negotiating with Japan.
It's not that. It's like China has literal laws preventing you cross advertising.
Like Capcom's Japanese.
Okay.
Right, yeah, Capcom, yeah. That's what we're saying. I was saying Cookie Run Kingdom is Korean.
Yeah, Cookie Run Kingdom. Yeah, that's Korean.
Yeah. But yeah, with China, it's like, it's nothing about like, if Street Fighter could have shown their units in Summoners War in China, I'm sure they would have jumped right on that opportunity. Yeah. It's just cross advertising laws. They're really strict about stuff like that over there. So, you know, I don't know whether or not it's impossible to get your to advertise another game within your game, but it's just, maybe it's just not worth the effort or whatever. And so, but yeah, they wouldn't have been allowed to, if Comtois were to hold off on their versions, they wouldn't have been allowed to use these in RTA right away, because it just obviously wouldn't be fair for that whole server to not have 21 new units.
That's odd. I still find that, but at least our hopes and dreams were answered, where we can use them right away. We don't have to wait 4 or 5 months, regardless of what the politics of it is. And with that, I think we should start off with Miss Cauliberry, the dark one here.
Yeah, so we've had these guys active for about 4 days, 4 or 5 days now. At the time of recording this, they haven't made a huge splash, but there is some like interesting ones. And I mean, the light and darks of them, it's just they're so fucking rare. And if you're playing in even G2, I mean, G2 is top 1,000. It's only 1,000 fucking people. Like, what are the odds that several of them have pulled these LDs and you're fighting that guy and he's picking it. So some of these we haven't actually seen in action yet, and even though these have been out for like a week, it is still kind of just speculation, our opinions on them. But yeah, so this one, the Dark Cauliberry, probably the best one released. She has a third skill on a 4-turn cooldown. Attacks all enemies to deal damage proportionate to your defense and decrease their defense for 2 turns, and then afterwards grants invincibility on all allies for 2 turns, which is that's a pretty cracked skill for effectively a 3-turn cooldown, really. And then they have the S2 that a few of them got, which is removes 1 harmful effect granted on all allies and increase their attack bar. And then they have the S1. They all have an S1 provoke that deals damage according to defense. So how do you guys feel about this one in particular?
More defense than speed than Ada, so I like it.
Yeah, and a defense break. AoE.
Yeah, AoE 2
Art is a little bit different to be comparing to this one.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's a S3 is pretty cracked. We don't know their awakenings right now. I think she gets the accuracy awakening.
I like the idea of it scaling off of defense as well, because you can make like it's so tough to bring defense-based units to life, and I say that as Zig's been hard playing Veligil. But like in a world of just so much additional damage ignoring defense, like they're really they're not shining. Is all I'm saying is like defense-based units are not shining.
You know? Accuracy awakening.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah. I think the tough thing with defense-based units too, though, it's just like, I don't know, like there's too many easy defense breaks now. So like prior to Chung Peng getting his buff where his S2 was like a 3-turn cooldown AoE defense break that at the time also stripped and did the defense break. Like up until that point, I was using defense cleave in RTA. Like that was like still my team at that point. It was like Tyrannus Vela, Emesity, Bulldozer. Like that's what I was still using. And like until units either start coming out that are really good, that are straight up immune to defense break, or there's just like, I don't know, just maybe some of the defense breakers that exist are nerfed. It's just hard. Like some teams just bring defense breaks like on accident. Like you're not even bringing Chung Peng for the defense break, and he just has it as an AoE 2 turns. Like it's just really freaking hard to use defense types.
And there's also not enough accessible defense buffers to top it off with it. And if they do have defense buff, they're not very aggressive. Like only Wedgeat comes to mind right now for an aggressive defense buffer.
Yeah.
And how common is Wedgeat? Well, common enough, I guess, but not that common. And then you look at Tyrannus gives defense buff, it doesn't do enough.
But he's a reviver, you know what I mean? He's like a reactionary unit. He's not aggressive, you know.
Would it be busted though if he gave bar with that defense buff?
No, he's 99 base speed.
Exactly.
It would be like it would be the most pointless buff ever. I'd be like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah. Well, you can still run a +180 Tyrannus on double defense, and I don't know. That's the end of that discussion, I guess. But what I'm getting at is there's not enough aggressive defense buffers to go with the defense type units.
Yeah.
So that's why, and then additional damage ignores their insane defense anyway, and then because you have insane defense, you have low HP. It's the same issue that we've had for many years.
They could still fix Alia. Yeah, they could still fix her to where her third skill is a heal more instead of is a heal instead of giving the heal buff.
Yeah, so just turn her into Riley. Like they're doing it slowly.
That's all they have to do.
Yeah, they're doing it like slowly. Like we're just inching her closer and closer to Riley, and then eventually they're gonna be like, okay, screw it. No one's using her. Everyone's using Riley. Just make her Riley, but with a defense buff.
Yeah, that's all they have to do. And I would say, like, if that was the case, I think we could bring back more defense comps, like defense-based comps, if that was the case.
Yeah, what do you guys think if and this would be a pretty drastic change to just like the game overall, but like what if defense breaking a unit didn't decrease defense scaling skills damage? So like you still drop their defense, you're still about because that's the problem with defense units, right? You get that one debuff on you, you lose 70% of your survivability, and your damage goes down the toilet. On one debuff. Like, if you attack break a Dominic, you still have to find a way to kill him. Like, it's just an attack break. He's dealing less to you, but you now still have to kill him. With a defense unit, you get that one debuff. Now they do no damage, and they die 70% faster. Like, that's... Like, what if it didn't affect your damage?
A better way to word it, or not better way, but another way to word it, is you get to ignore 70% of your opponent's defense as well. Like, it's the same thing, but like when you think about like, I'm ignoring 70% of this unit's defense, and it's like insane when you put it that way.
Wait, so can't we just nerf defense break?
I want to do that actually to 50%.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought defense break and attack break were equal, to be honest with you.
It's not even close.
It's 50% to 70%.
Yeah.
Yep. It's I don't.
Why aren't they just an even swap? HP goes down anyways as a match continues to progress. So like units are not going to be as tanky. Do they think that because this information was put in before RTA though?
Yep.
So maybe there needs to be a change.
Yeah, I think it was like you said, it was before RTA. I think it was more along the lines of like making. Like, honestly, I think it was like a PvE thing. Like, we can make these really cracked bosses that have super crazy defense. Now your teams require a defense break. You know what I mean? Just things like that. Like, just to make people think, like, oh, I got to work in defense breaks. I got to work in, you know what I mean? Like, as a PvE thing, because it's cool and whatever. It makes sense. Like, it's like Sunder Armor and, like, World of Warcraft or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you want to bring it. Like, but yeah, it's really lopsided, and it used to be less like relevant because defense break used to be like a really rare debuff. Like a lot of the units who did it were not RTA units. Like if you think back to like the metas of like Okeanos and Wusa and what, nothing had a defense break. There was like no defense breaks. The games were super fucking long, and I mean maybe that's a bad thing, but like there was no defense breaks because none of the real good PvP units had defense breaks baked in, but now they do. So
yeah.
So now most drafts should at least have a defense break in it.
Yeah.
As we see Masha in the majority of drafts.
Yeah, Masha, Savannah, Chungpung, Cigar, they all just have it like just there. It's not even a part of like their main viability. It's just there as like an added thing, and it's just always around. You're always going to have a defense break that you've got to deal with on the other side. But I mean, I don't know. I still think that this unit is pretty cool, but it's like when it comes to LD5s, who's going to pull it? Is it going to be, I don't know, some guy who plays turn 1 CC? He'll probably never use this thing. Is it going to be some guy who plays, I don't know, maybe someone with turn 2 like Ragdoll and stuff? If that guy happens to be the one to pull it, maybe he'll use it, but who knows? It's an LD5. Like that's the tough thing about these.
Well, I think they're all guaranteed to be receiving a buff because there's no way they introduce, we've said this before, no way they introduce 21 units and then they're all broken and this is how they're going to be.
Yeah.
They're going to introduce 21 units and then we're probably going to see changes to all of them. So like definitely including her as well. Something small, if they think it's good, they're going to tweak something still.
The S2 is a bit whack, really.
It's so bad. Yeah, this is a really bad S2 just all around. If it was a 2-turn cooldown, maybe, but 3 is just
two would be pretty good actually. But like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
As it is, like, she's still one of the most usable ones.
Yeah. So we can go to the next one, who's slightly less usable, who Topa just pulled, actually. But yeah, we got the Scuffed Artemil. So her passive is that whenever you attack an enemy, your defense increases by 10% each, up to 10 times, and deals bonus damage in proportion to the difference between the enemy target's defense and your defense. She has S2, which is just Chandra's S2, literally.
Oh my god, this unit's bad.
The only thing with this skill that's different than Chandra is that you actually don't get to choose your target. It automatically goes to your lowest health unit. So in a sense, your opponent gets to choose your target because they can obviously control where their damage goes. And then when they hit that thing, she revenges and she stuns, just like Chandra. And then she's got the provoke skill 1 as well. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this unit.
So much worse than Arda. It's not even funny.
It's like, not even comparable, to be honest. It really isn't.
No.
Like, all it is it's the passive where Arda, will starts doing more and more damage.
It's both. She's a counterattack unit too, and she's light and defense based. So it's almost the same in every way. It's just
she's not counterattacking when the hugged person's getting hit.
Yeah,
right?
And she counterattacks and stuns. It's Arda. It's
the
just
stun.
bad.
I would say the stun might even be more consistent with.
It probably is.
Arda,
yeah,
probably will be.
But you only use that once, right?
Yeah. Well, what do you mean?
Like, because once you use the S2, that's your one stun.
No.
And then you counter with S1. Do you know?
No, you counter. I'm pretty sure you counter with this skill. It works weird because I've been using this one, who has the same escort thingy. Or wait, no, not this. Wait, which one is it? Oh no, it was this one that we were using on your account.
Yeah.
It stuns on the revenge. Like I know it does. So it must be attacking with this skill.
Oh, that's arguably better than the provoke. So if it's doing that, it's not as bad as I thought, but it's still bad. It's still definitely bad.
I mean, I would have preferred it revenge with first skill. So like you get the stun, get the stun and the provoke. I don't care. Just get one of them. You know what I mean? Because it's the worst if stun gets resisted. At least you got the provoke, right?
Yeah, but if you were revenging with first skill, then you only have the provoke because you don't stun, or unless you put her on despair. I mean, you could do that.
Oh! I see what you're saying.
But yeah, it's just kind of weird. Like, she's kind of like a turn 2 unit, but she has to attack 10 times to get her stacks. How the fuck do you attack with this thing 10 times? I have no idea. That's like, you need a miracle to not be...
Does a revenge set count as attacking?
Yes. That's like the only way.
I would just not stop talking about this unit. It's unless we could talk about how to buff it.
Sorry, Topa.
Is it a triple revenge unit though? We would ruin
could be.
Revenge.
Could be
violent revenge, triple revenge, I guess.
It has no sustain, dude. It's gonna die with that base HP too. It's a meme at best.
Wow, that's not a good. They gave it way too much defense, to be honest with you. What's Arda's defense?
I mean, don't get me wrong. She hits hard as hell, but who cares? Yeah. It's a single target.
69. Holy cow! They almost gave it more than 100. It's more than 100 more defense than Arda.
Yeah.
They could have definitely brought that down.
Look at this fire one. She's got the highest in the game.
Wow.
It's crazy, but
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, so sorry, Topa. This unit kind of sucks. I don't know. I don't know what they can do.
I don't even know, dude.
They could build in a revenge to this and just make her Artemil. I don't fucking know, dude.
The S2 is gonna get buffed regardless. That thing is an atrocity too. The fact you can't even select who you want to protect.
Yeah, and then it doesn't have like threat state either. They don't have to attack it.
Yeah,
so
like it.
They could give it automatic revenge. Who knows? Like they could do a lot of crazy things.
Yeah. So next one, Wind Cauliberry, might be the worst one in the family. So she's got the same. She's got the same S2 as the light one that we just talked about, the Chandra skill, literally. Then she has a third skill, with a 3-turn cooldown that's create a shield equal to 20% of your max HP, defense type unit, by the way, on all allies for 3 turns and increase their defense for 3 turns. In addition, decrease the skill cooldown time of all allies
on a
by 1 turn each.
Cooldown?
Well, it's a 3-turn cool. I mean, it's on cooldown for 3 turns. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Mav's better.
Mav is better.
So
yes.
this is effectively, this skill is down for 2 turns, right?
Okay.
Because it's because it's down for 3 turns and it reduces itself by 1. I'm pretty sure it should. I don't have her. I can't test that, but it should reduce its own thing. And I haven't fought her, so I have no fucking idea. But it should.
There's a reason you have it.
It says of all allies, not of all other allies. That's what they do when they're saying that it excludes you. So
that's right. Yes, I agree.
So I mean, it's 100% uptime on defense buff. Like that's cool, I guess.
But why I'm saying only 4-turn cooldown is because there's
Stoic. We lost your camera.
No, your camera just melted away.
There you go.
I've never had problems before. Wait, I'm back.
Well, I think it's just your internet because actually your voice is cutting too. But
oh no,
okay, it's the internet's okay.
But
that US well, I was saying though the cooldown matters on like the total cool because the amount of cooldown units there are in this game. Like you get put, assuming it becomes RTA viable, you'll just get put on cooldown, and then you're gonna have to wait 4 turns to benefit from that skill. And by the time you get it back up, you'll be cooldown again anyway. If it was to be something that's bad, I think Mav is at a 3-turn cooldown with his S3.
Yeah. But it's just like, it's weird when the skill doesn't heal, doesn't put immunity, and is just a shield and defense buff. Like, that's really odd. Like, because shield and defense buff are effectively the same thing. Like, you might as well just give the defense buff and then a different buff that is just better than a shield. Because it's, or even just heal. Like, even if it was a heal, I think I would like it a little bit more than the shield.
I think these units would have been good with that first skill that heals. Like first skill healing lowest ally.
Oh, the other
kind of like the
the other cookies. The other cookies have that too.
Which cookies? That the pures?
Yeah, fully robotic.
That's what, yeah, you're pretty robotic. But yeah, that's what the pure vanilla Zest one is. Is the heal. But
try to leave and come back, maybe.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah. Let me leave. I'll come back. I'm about to script your stuff.
No, that's fine. No one move.
He's coming, just wait. Anyway, so Stoic, he's a piece of he's a piece of work, eh?
Yeah. Hate that guy.
Oh, hey Stoic.
Internet.
Oh no, yeah, it's your internet. Yeah. Maybe it'll fix itself.
Now, though. Oh
no, it's still at least on my end.
It's getting. It looks like it's slowly coming back, but
actually, yeah, you're right. It is slowly coming back.
I think this unit. I feel like we have to get some more. We have to see some more people like the True Whale style of play, where it's just like hard turn to, like super giga tanky units. Like maybe she fits in with those guys, just reducing their cooldowns a little bit. I don't know.
I'm not buying it.
I'm not either. I don't know why you would use her over so many other units, but
even what's her name, the Water Riley is superior to this thing.
Yeah, cleanses and heals. Yeah,
and every single wave, it doesn't even matter. The S2 is the escort on this one too.
Yeah, escort.
Okay, straight dumpster tier. Don't even. The Wickens into res too. That
I don't like her either. Yeah,
no, it's a bad cookie.
Yeah,
it's a bad cookie. Overcooked. Not even over. You can't even say it's overcooked. You can't even say it's raw. Those are still compliments. I don't know.
She's the correct color. She's yellow. She's like, this is like the perfectly cooked cookie, but she's terrible. I don't know. So the next one, being the water one, is the next most toxic unit to enter Summoner's War, which is great. So she's got the passive that if an ally takes damage from an enemy, you have a 15% chance to offset that damage, which just means get rid of it completely. and attack the enemy instantly to deal damage proportionate to your defense and stun the enemy for 1 turn.
That's such a good passive, dude.
It's got so much baked in.
I promise you, they're gonna overbuff this. No one's gonna ask to buff this passive, and they're gonna overbuff it to like 20 or 25%. She'll be the new Molly, and then they're gonna bring it down. Mark my fucking words, because everyone's all these cookies are gonna get buffed in some way, shape, or form. They're gonna buff her passive that nobody asked for because they didn't learn their lesson from Molly, and they're gonna and then this is what's gonna happen.
Dude, what's gonna happen is they're gonna buff this skill because this skill's freaking terrible. And they're going to buff it for the dark one. Yeah, they're going to buff it for the dark one, and then she's going to get cracked because of it. And, like, that's going to be, like, the only side effect of them buffing that. But, yeah, this unit is ridiculous. Yeah. She
great hits, considering the defense and the base speed, yes.
So this is one of the few that I actually pulled. And this is the build that I currently have her on. This unit hits so freaking hard.
Wait. What's her awakening? It's not res or accuracy.
Oh, it's crit rate. It's crit rate.
Oh, crit rate.
Yeah.
That's not a horrible thing, I guess.
Dude, this unit cracks things. Like, she hits on like a defense broken unit, her with no buffs or whatever, just on a revenge, it's like 16 to 17k. Like, just straight to the dome.
How does it work with multi-hits? What's the interaction?
She can block any piece of them, just like glancing.
And then if she does,
she revenges.
She counter.
Yeah,
that's sick.
With the 100% activation rate stun.
It's so funny that they follow suit with units like this. Like Minato was the revenging, and now we come back here, we get another water unit
again.
revenging.
Yeah,
they always double down on that though. But Minato sucks too. I'd rather pod this thing, but because my count is not allowed to have good turn 2 units, I probably won't summon it.
Yeah, people always give them shit for doing that, where like they always stick to like that same theme. How like forever it was like Eladriel, then Eladriel turns into Tyrannus, and then you know what I mean? Like they stay within like the same vein, but like it makes sense from the sense of like
resetters.
Like, well, it's like exactly. But it's like, how much worse would the game be if there was a wind, fire, and water Chung Pung? What the hell would you do? Like, you wouldn't you wouldn't be able to fight anybody. They would just pick the one that fit that match the best and then crush you. Like, there is some method to their madness of making all those units the same. It's because, like, what if someday Tyrannus was super good and so was Eladriel, but Eladriel was water and Tyrannus was wind, and now they could double down on revivers, have them be different elements. Like, it's you know.
It would be a chaotic thing, I get. That's why, like, fire doesn't have full pushbacks like wind does. The amount of wind full AoE pushback is insane.
But could you imagine if you could do that with both? If you could bring a fire unit that does it and a wind unit that does it, maybe an LD that does it, what would your opponent do? What could they pick? It's like you're just stuck. But yeah, I also think this unit is a super good arena defense unit as well. I mean, it remains to be seen. I'm not much of an arena player, but it just sounds pretty freaking toxic to me. But yeah, I don't know. This unit's pretty cool. Like, one thing to note though is even when she blocks a skill, you can still get debuffed from that skill. Like, if Masha S2s you and you block the first part, she can still defense break you on the first part that you blocked. So you don't take damage from it, but you still take the defense break, and then the second part can come in and hit you.
Okay.
But then there's also, like, I've had games where I just straight up blocked every Masha attack for like 6 straight turns. And Masha just didn't get to do damage. Like, she S2'd, I blocked first and second hit. She S1's, I blocked the hit. She S2's, I blocked first and second hit. And just didn't take any damage.
You can offset Mo Long as well for the Reckless, right?
Yep.
Ooh.
Like, that feels silly in itself.
It's crazy.
That's such a luck psych if that happens, but...
Yeah. So's Molly. Yeah. Like, when you bring Molly versus Daphnis or something, and you're just trying to... 15 it?
But Molly can still be reckless.
No, I know, but it's like it's a luck sack, but it's like it's just like
just the way that passive is, this kind of feels like one of those must units. So like people who pull Juno, like think about it in the years back. Like if you had a Juno, it didn't matter in Juno's not greatest of days, but you still built it because if they were trying to Rika you or something like that, just Juno was one of the units to bring.
Yeah.
It feels like one of those units that if you have it, just have it ruined up. You never know when you might need it.
Never feed this. She can only get better, not worse.
Right.
On top of that,
yeah, they're never gonna nerf this.
And the crit rate awakening is surprisingly good for somebody who always counterattacks too. Fuck,
Yep.
that's actually pretty cracked. It's not super cracked, but it's good. It's usable. So we can.
I wonder why they like 15% so much. Like 15% just seems to be like the number that is such a go-to for just dumb RNG. I hate 15%.
Yeah, I know. I swear it's like they know that number
supposed to be that good.
I know.
15.
Yeah. They know that number just frustrates us and they just stick to it. Like I can't even picture like if you're playing any other like strategy game, if you had like a card or something like that.
Yeah, Antares, 15% chance.
Yeah, starts at 15 and then goes up. Yeah, it's like any other game. You put a 15% chance for something to happen. No one would ever use that card. No one would ever use that Pokemon move or whatever. And then it's like you throw it in this game and it's like there's so many 15s. It's like put Molly, this, and Antares all on the same team. Now you got 15s flying all over the place. Like something's going to activate.
The dice roll, because I just redid the math. I'm trying to remember what 1 in 6 is, and it's their dice roll. I know Stoic has been part of this conversation. Remember when a specific person said that somebody tried to like Summoner's Wars kind of based off MTG?
Yep.
Yeah, and then that was saying it got 5 colors. MTG has 5 colors, and there's dice rolls, and well, most card games they have dice rolls. And this is like maybe like one of the things is 15% is roll the dice. You have a 15% chance to.
Yeah.
Just completely either res or offset damage or glance.
It makes sense when you say it like that, you know.
Yeah.
Duh.
It is. It's 16% on a dice roll.
You're rolling a 6. That's about
Sometimes I want to roll a 20-sided dice though.
Yeah. Right.
Or my opponent too.
They want to roll a 20-sided dice, but yeah. It's a 6-sided dice that they're rolling when it comes to these 15s.
Yep.
Well, maybe Violent Proc should go back to a solid number and leave Violence at 15%.
Yeah.
If they think it's so good.
And maybe put Despair down to like 0 or something. That would be fucking hate that.
Yeah, even Despair, send that to 15 too. What is Despair? 20?
25.
25, yeah.
On every hit, 22. Can't be resisted.
Oh, Despair, sorry.
Despair,
Despair goes to 25. Violence can stat at 25, and then they can go down by 5 every time.
To 0,
10%,
that should be
to
applied.
0.
Yep.
I stand by that. If someone's able to proc enough to go to 0,
right,
you have done enough in the game.
Exactly.
So that at 0% it doesn't matter because your opponent is definitely going to be having violent runes, and you'll get your chance to go back up.
Yeah, if you haven't won yet, that's your problem. you're done.
It really is.
You're done procking. Fuck you. If you haven't won yet, fucking figure something out. I don't know.
Yeah, get better runes.
Yeah, but yeah. So
anyways,
the water one, very good, but yeah, the fire one also quite good. So she also has the shitty escort ability on S2. Whatever. They all have the exact same S1. But she has the third skill that, with the power of a Cauliberry shield, decrease the damage that your allies take by 200% of your defense until the next turn starts, which is her next turn, and you will gain immunity to inability effects during this time. So
I just want to say that I called it. I think how I said that percentage is going to work actually ended up working like I said. So if you had 200, like a total of 200 defense, 200%, you mitigate 4,000 per hit. I called that, and I was right. I'm happy about that. Does it mean anything? No, but let me have my little tiny victory, all right? But I do own this one. She's super good into Dominic. She's good into like any of the multi-hitters, really, because they don't deal over 4,000 per hit. Nobody does. But like
Dominic did.
Well, not per hit.
Before.
Like,
no,
yeah, his last hit might squeak through like a 7k hit or something, but even then, you take 3.
It's even less than that, dude.
Mine hits 9k.
Yours hits 9k, so you can
9k,
still see like
9k on the brand. Actually, I'm pretty sure. So like 7ish k, off the brand.
Yeah, and then let's say like 4,000 or 5,000 is subtracted from that because of her defense.
And you block all of his hits before it too, because the hits before it don't do it. Yeah,
and they land 1 damage. So in terms of like going into Dominic, it's good. The oracles that give me good, except for
Masha.
Masha can she's not gonna kill you turn 1 if she lands the defense break, but she still do a decent
She'll
chunk
do
of
like
damage.
10k probably.
Yeah, that's not totally bad, but it's definitely better than taking 30k.
Than dying. Yeah.
Yeah, better than dying. So it's the stuff like that. She's been pretty good. The only issue is that she can proc out of that S3.
Yeah, you physically can't use her on Violent. You physically can't.
Unless you're a hardcore gambler, you're gonna put her on Vio, and then hope you don't proc out of that. But if for me, I run her on Swift right now, just so she can move in front of my other units, just to set up that shield. Then she just sits there. After that, I have her like, let me check. I did skill her and everything. I don't regret skilling her. I just don't use her enough. She has that plus 1800 defense, and yeah, like Dominic's will do 1-1-1-1, and then like a 1 to 2k on his passive hit. Oracles do 1-1-1-1, and all of them just do 1-1-1-1.
Yeah, because like with plus 1800 defense, you're pretty much negating 6000 damage per hit. Because after towers and her base defense of 900, you're over 3000. So
yeah, easily. So it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good unit. I just wish that I can squeeze a despair set on her sometimes, but you're not gonna do that. Like if really the only other viable rune set that doesn't screw you over would be despair. And by the time you look at the rest of your box, saying this unit needs despair, this unit needs despair, you're not going to get her on despair at a certain speed, which is ideally she moves first, not last on your team.
But it doesn't matter anyway. She has 100 activation rate stun on her S2 and a provoke on her S1. Like the despair is redundant bonus. Anyway. It's like
it's not totally redundant because if they res 1, because there's 2 despair checks technically. And then our S1 becomes a provoke and a stun check, technically. But it's not bad that she can only be ruined on Swift, I guess. But her S2 still sucks, unfortunately. And her S1 is S1. It's a Slayer provoke. We know how good a provoke is, the 80% activation is when it lands.
Don't count on it.
Yeah, don't count on it. Well, no, for me, my provoke lands in general for like using all the Slayers / Bisons have been pretty decent overall, but the S2 is just an atrocity still.
As an advocate for Cigar for so long, I don't like that first skill. Just not consistent ever. I was a big advocate for Cigar for a long time.
Yes, but it most likely won't get better for the S1s. But that's my spiel on the Fire Cauliberry.
Yeah.
So we can't be sad if we got fire, but the water and the DAC are what everyone wants to get. Well, I mean, you want to get them all. Essentially, you want to get them all.
Here's the thing,
they're all candidates for buffs, so just for being new units.
You shouldn't be down if you got the fire one, because she's going to use a Swift set that very unlikely anyone else is using. I'm not saying to run her at +3, like at 300 total, or even 200 total, or 300
the
total.
irony of it though is that we did start using that Swift set on our Velas right before before she came out, so now it's like, wait, I need 2 of these sets that these runes hadn't been equipped on. These runes hadn't been equipped on anything in fucking 2 years. Now all of a sudden I need 2 of these sets. It's weird.
That's true. It's kind of annoying in that sense. But what does she awaken into again? I can't remember. No, I think she awakens into res.
Probably. But yeah, have you fought her yet at all, Stoic, or have any thoughts on it?
I've only ever fought pure vanillas. I haven't run into any Cauliberries yet.
Yeah, which sounds about right. I mean, defense types, RTA, they usually don't go together very well, so... But she's cool, and I think she's going to be a crazy... Like, if you're into Siege and stuff, I think she's going to be a really cool, like, for making super safe offenses.
Yes.
So that's good.
Especially like Dominic, and if we're talking Siege, if you take her into Dominic def offenses, you should be fairly happy using her, because they can proc all day after you pop. She's still on Swift. She pops her S3. Dominic, Molly, and Theo are gonna. Oh, if that's one of the defenses you're hitting, it's a common Dominic one. They're gonna use all their skills. Not gonna do anything. It doesn't matter if they defense break you. The damage is so little. It'll be like. It'll go from 1 damage to like at most 1000 damage, maybe per hit, so you'll be fine. That's a good siege unit as well. I think you should not be upset if you pull the fire one.
Yeah.
The fire Cauliberry. And that's pretty much all we can really say about her.
But yeah, so the other Nat 5 family, the pure vanillas that we got, pretty much a full support family, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, all 5 of them are supports. They do have arena leader skills, which is cool. No speed lead. Strange. I was almost positive that Light was going to get its first 33, but I guess not. So
I was calling it, and I said we were guaranteed a speed lead out of all these. I feel like that's like a big thing to really hype up a unit, knowing that there's buffs down the road. Like I knew there was a speed lead coming through, and I was very surprised to find out that there isn't a speed lead.
They could, but they could just give it to one like they did Oliver. He didn't come out with a speed lead; they just gave it to him. You know, so who knows?
See that for sure.
What was his lead before? He had something.
I think attack. I think it was attack.
Oh, it was attack. It was attack.
Yeah, the 44 attack.
So the first one, the fire one, has a pretty interesting like budget Jackson passive, which is kind of crazy. Increases the recovery amount and attack bar increasing amount from skills that allies receive by 30% each. And this effect does not accumulate, which basically means it does not stack with Jackson specifically because he's the only other unit that has that, and does not apply in battle against bosses. I don't know how the fuck they coded that, but sure. That the passive shuts off when in battle versus something classified as a boss. And then she has the second skill, which is recover the HP of all allies by 15% and give a shield equal to 15% of your HP. And then they have the S1 similar to totems, where they just recover the HP of the lowest ally by, what is that, 12.5%. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the budget Jackson?
It's not a budget. I understand where it's a budget Jackson, but I feel like the best part about Jackson is that being a Jackson owner, the best part about Jackson is that part that people forget about.
I mean, he's not a Grogan, but still,
that you're like defending in the attack bar pushback area.
Yeah, that's like his biggest thing. Like whenever I fight Jackson, they're bringing it because I've brought more cigar, things like that are going to strip, going to push back. That's almost always like the way he's used, more so than boosting your own attack bar recovery effects. But it's still a cool little thing. I mean,
yeah, it's neat.
You can use it like, it's probably better with like the passive attack bar gainers. Like it's not, you don't bring this in with Escher so that he boosts, 30% more of his whatever, 15%. Like, I mean, that you're doing 4.5% more bar. Like that's completely irrelevant.
I don't see Ragdoll owners like loving this unit though. And the reason is, obviously people immediately are going to say like, oh, Ragdoll Jackson's good. That means Ragdoll Fire Pure Vanilla is good. That you have to also look at the team as a whole. Jackson's offering potential strip with potential to stun second skill with attack bar pushback on first skill. This is full support your team. So if you have a Ragdoll who just has a first skill to apply dot deal damage at the second skill torrent, which torrent, people know how to deal torrent. No one's worried like, oh no, the torrent's going to destroy me. No one out there says that. It's like Ragdoll's got a passive and he's just there to do poke damage, and then Pure Vanilla is got a passive and it's just only there to heal. So you cannot forget about actually having team utility and draft these two units thinking you're going to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. They're both supports. Like Ragdoll is by every meaning of the word a support. Like he is not your carry. He is not what's going to win you the game. He's what's going to help your units that are your win condition. This is the same thing, but like I just think the S2 is a little weak on these units. Like 15 heal, 15 shield. I mean, you don't do any cleansing. You don't do any. There's no bar associated. There's nothing else to it. It's 15 bar or 15 heal, 15 shield. That's it. I guess technically the heal's 19.5% because of her own passive. That's about it. So I don't know. I'm really intrigued by it. I feel like she could become busted. Like if this became a really toxic S2 that had like a Lulu S3 type of vibe or something, then it would be a little toxic to deal with. But she's such a bad unit. And I feel like even Jackson suffers from that sometimes too. Like, Jackson sucks. Like, the unit Jackson is ass. He's like Ragdoll. The unit Ragdoll is terrible. The passive is busted. So it's like, your passive's got to be real good to be a terrible unit and get used simply because of your passive. And I don't think she's quite...
No.
She's not quite good enough as a unit or quite good enough as a passive yet.
What if they added attack bar gain on both first and second skill? So the first skill would be unique to this because it heals the lowest target, but also heals the lowest target and increases the attack bar as well.
So Raccoony,
the Raccoony first. And just put that into one skill in the pure vanilla.
Yeah.
So also, then you can gain more out of the passive as well.
Yeah. Because a healer that just heals is not RTA viable. They have to have another effect. It never has.
Look at Molly. It's cleanse shield and then strip first skill. Like, there's more utility to Molly.
Yeah, and the glancing on top of all that. It's like...
And then Praha can sleep you and give you speed buff
unit
now.
Sucks.
Yeah, and it is strange. Like, you make a good point about, like, they should add some form of attack bar gain to this, because it's like, this is a weird unit where you literally require something else on your team to have attack bar gain. That's really odd. Like, they don't do that.
Don't give her busted attack bar gain. Give her the Raccoony first skill in addition to the heal.
Right.
And then something on the second.
But it's like part of her passive is physically not active if something else on your team doesn't.
Yeah.
Dude, like, that is strange to think about. Because, like, even, like, what's her face? Like this unit who they come out with, you know what I mean? Where it's like increases the effects of attack and attack power and defense buff. They gave her attack power and defense buff. Like, that's the whole point. They're not going to release this and then be like, oh, but you got to bring something else to do it. Like, you got to use Megan with her if you want to actually... No, they give her those buffs. So, yeah, that is weird. She should have some sort of gain. That's a good point. Yeah. But so we can go to the next one, which most people are thinking is probably the best new unit that came out.
Yeah.
L&D's included, like, and I would honestly agree with that. So she gets the third skill, which is a 3-turn cooldown, grants increase attack power, attack speed, and immunity for 2 turns. So just a Fran, but with attack speed as well. She has an S2 Oblivion on a 2-turn cooldown, and they all have the same S1 where they just heal by a little bit.
It has Jogun feels, if you remember Jogun's. Well, it was even worse because it was strip attack of attack speed. Like, that was so dumb.
Yep.
But it has feels like that. So, but it's super good though. I really, really like this one. This is the one I want the most.
Yep, same.
I'm trying to think of what's the team comp that you run. Like, she's a very good support unit with Tableau.
That's what I would be after, because she's just so versatile in that sense, where it's like, if you're using her with Tableau with like really high like cheat code base speed units like most Tableau players do, like Yon Hong, Ethna, Masha, Water Monkey, like Escher, those types of things, where it's like, if you can give those teams more survivability, an Oblivion for their counters, which is almost entirely passive units, like all the counters to that team are passive units, and you give them like an aspect that they never had before, which is like a way to seamlessly work in immunity to make it like, okay, things went wrong, missed some of my defense breaks, I am going to have to take a hit here. Like that, it's just so valuable. Like,
that her S2 is kind of lackluster. As much as we wanted more Oblivion.
Yeah. Well, it's like the one thing that I would say that's this unit's downfall is the base speed of 96, because I would want this to be my fastest unit on a Tableau team, where I can make a decision, S2 that Verd on first turn, then Tableau, then S3, or there is no Verd, S3, do a whole bunch of damage, get some strips, now Tableau runs it back, now I S2 something. after I've gotten some strips in.
Agreeable.
But 96 is kind of tough.
And she probably awakens into Reser accuracy as she is. Definitely not crit rate. So they could change her awakening to speed, and it would be a good unit. But again, her on her own, like if she's like one of the last 2 units alive, it looks like res.
Yeah, it's res.
Yeah. So it'd be. What's that you're sharing there?
So those are the new units. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures for the China units.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something we want to showcase at all, or if you have showcased them already. I wasn't sure.
I think we looked over it.
I just don't have any way to bring it up on screen right now. But yeah, also if you want to see them too, you can just like if you go to the top left of your game and just pop over to China server. They're in the monster index over there.
Oh, you can go to China server.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think they look pretty cool. A lot of people have been trashing on them, but I think
I like
sweet.
the cookie variations a wee bit better.
Yeah, I think I like the cookie version. Like, so I don't mind the mouse and the cat version.
I like the chocolate knight.
The chocolate knight, he's chunky, dude. That's one chunky chocolate.
He looks like an F5, and
he's high in calories, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not like the Cauliberry.
No, they look weird. They're weird. Awful. They're so out of place. They're very weird.
It's like Mad Cat little girl.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's weird.
And I'm not a fan of that Q-tip, but it's a spoon. I know it's a spoon, but boy, does it look like a Q-tip. It is a dirty Q-tip.
Well,
it's awful.
But yeah, I mean,
I can't unsee that at all. I cannot unsee that. Oh my god, that's a Q-tip with some smudge on it.
Some schmegma.
Schmutz was the word I was looking for.
So yeah, I mean, what do you guys think of this unit? I mean, none of us pulled it, right? None of us three.
No,
so no actual experience with it, but
I lost to it actually.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but it was also broken comp. I lost to Oberon, Shizuka, Pure Vanilla, and Oliver. It was just abundantly over for me.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah. I think if they give her Speed Awakening, we'll see her a lot more. But as soon as like people start getting 15 res, because you can't give her the speed she needs and the accuracy she needs. 100 res bird is becoming more common. Juno, whatever. Abelio, they're not going to ever have high enough resistance for you to care about it, I think. But
oh, really?
Well, what are you going to show me right now?
My Abelio.
You're the exception. I wouldn't know. I'm sorry. I wouldn't know.
It reminds me of my Leo. No. Except you have speed. A little bit of speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Although the one thing that I would, if they were to ever buff this, and they should do it because like the Dark One could use it too, this skill needs to strip. This is not, just strip one buff and do the 2-turn Oblivion. Like, this is such a weird skill. Like, I don't know.
Compare it to Herney. I made this comparison, I think, on my stream.
Same cooldown, right?
Same cooldown, but Herney will also... It's a 3-turn Oblivion with a 3-turn defense break, and she pushes bar. And Herney has 105 base speed.
If they're going to give it no strip, I think it needs to be a 2-turn cooldown. So if it's on Violent, you at least get... You pretty much always have Oblivion down on somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
Because she's going to have... She's going to do no damage, right? So, like, if this skill misses, you did nothing. Like, at least if it strips, it's like, okay, like, I'm tuning it in front of stuff because it has buffs anyways. So, like, sometimes I can make the play to go for a strip with her S2 instead of... Even if you don't need the Oblivion, you can still just make the strip play to get rid of an immunity. She just doesn't have that option. Like, this skill just has a 15% chance to just be a total dud and do absolutely nothing. I don't know.
That's her. That's where she sits right now. Yeah. She's good, but it's not in long-term games. Like, she buffs for nothing. She not buffs for nothing. Like, yes, some people can.
Well, what I think the importance is we're not going to see that, because if it was like 2-turn second skill, awakens into base speed, like who knows what the changes could be, but like if it was like those cases, we'd be looking at a #1 unit being drafted in, or even strip Oblivion, a #1 unit being drafted in SWC.
She would. She might become first pick viable. But
man, I want to go off on an Oblivion tangent right now, but I don't want to like. We got more units to go through.
We're getting more units with Oblivion though. That's
but they all suck.
They do, but we're getting more.
No, me and Firas have been getting so mad. It has devolved to the point. I think I picked Tessa. I think he's like my second most picked unit behind Ryu. Like I need him every fucking game. There's just passives everywhere, and it's like, my comparison is like, could you imagine if there was like 200 units in this game that put up AoE immunity, and there was only one unit with an AoE strip? Like that's what it feels like with Tessa. It's like there's just passives everywhere. Like this guy's picking 5 of them, this guy's picking 5 of them, and I've got one option to deal with it, and they can always
it was banned.
Yeah, they can always just spend their ban on it if they feel like it. So it's just like it's in such a bad spot, Oblivion right now. Like, give us some freaking units with consistent good Oblivion.
We were in a worse spot. We were in a much worse spot where all we have is Tessarian. In a time where we only had Tessarian, and now we have all these things. Not all these things, but like we have a lot more now, and all we have is Tessarian.
Yeah. Well, I think like even just this 20 units that got dropped, I think we got 7 passive units released in this drop, and 2 Oblivion units. Like that ratio is just already fucked up. Like we got 7 passives and 2 the same Oblivion skill units. Like, what the hell? Stop putting passives in here if you're not going to give us any way to answer them.
They know that we like the passives.
They're just dumping more and more passives in, and it's like, what am I like? I just have to I have to find a way to duplicate Tessa. Like, I need 3 Tessas every match, and only one exists, and
you heard of Chizuka and Tomo goaded?
Then they banned the Tessa. That's literally our draft.
Yeah, I know. I'm just talking ass.
Yeah. But, so, anyways,
the wind one.
Yeah, can we skip this one? I pulled this fucker 4 times. She's so bad.
There's something cool, supposedly, is that her text does not say that it can't stack with others. With other effects. So if you have multiple wind pure vanilla cookies and you throw up a shield, hold on, bear with me.
So you're saying I shouldn't have fed the dupes?
No, you should have had 4.
No.
You should have had all 4 on defense and have the most insane reflect damage of all time. All right. I can't think of a better reflect damage mechanic in this game.
That would actually be hilarious. Imagine 4 of them all on triple shield with the
yeah.
And then you just get Tiana.
They don't need to move.
Then you just get Tiana and your shield's gone and then you die. But yeah, like this unit, like who asked? Who asked for this? When an ally with the shield is attacked, deals damage equal to 30% of the damage dealt to the shield. So not 30% of the damage you received. If they bust through your shield and hit you for another 15k, that part's not included. It's only the damage dealt to the shield. And then in addition, creates a shield equal to 15% of your max HP on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns whenever your turn starts.
What an awful passive.
There's so many things wrong with it. Like
this, first of all, should have been a Nat 4 passive.
Oh my god, they could have put this on a Nat 3. No one would ever use it ever.
Well, that's where it belongs. It's Nat 4, Nat 3 territory. It's not a Nat 5 passive at all. They should just take this, put it on somebody else, and then give her a whole new passive. Because this is not a Nat 5 Siege/RTA viable passive at all. It's not gonna save you. It's not gonna kill anybody. It's not going nothing.
I just don't get the point of it. Like even
no shield goes this high on top of that.
Even the second part of it, on each of your turns, you put 1 15% HP shield on the lowest target. Whereas a unit like Rakuni just heals that health back. And Molly just heals that. It's strictly better. A shield is just a strippable version of health. Like, you would rather just have the health. Who the fuck wants the shield? Like,
Like
we want to have something available for Gianna to strip stun.
Right, yeah.
Or for Daphnis to strip defense break murder.
God. What a horrible idea of a unit.
I think this could be salvaged if they not reword it, but they change it where instead of 30% of the damage dealt to like 30% of something that actually has a scalable value to it. Because like if I was thinking that if you run double shield, so you have your shield and you have shield runes, then you can double up that damage. But then I realized even if those shields don't get broken, it's because they didn't do enough damage, and because they didn't do enough damage, 30% of not enough damage.
Yeah, exactly. What do you send him back? 200.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. So they should
just followed suit, and it's another wind unit. Any unit with shield gets any ally with a shield gets hit, resets the unit by 1 turn for hitting.
Do something cool.
And push their bar by 100%. Yes.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. We've already talked about
units
that unit
with
too
shields
much.
get hit, increases said unit with shield.
Yeah.
Increases their attack bar.
This might be too good of an idea, still.
This is the worst unit that they've released in a long time. Like this is genuine Nat 3 kit.
Zen's a mess. Zen
was better at release.
Zen's quirky. This is just useless. Like if a Nat 3 had this, no one would use it. That Nat 3 would never ever get built. It would just be like another Wind Bear Man or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just going to be some Nat 3, never gets built. It's just fodder unit.
Yep.
We were bound to get a cookie that was going to get fed from more crystals, turned into more LDs, and this is the one.
This is definitely the one.
Yeah.
I think the only way to salvage it, if they can, because the idea is not to scale off her shield, more so if you can put your own shield set through runes, and then something happens, interacts with that shield, then it could be like,
it needs to be something better than Reflect. You know what I mean? Like who the fuck cares about Reflect?
The Reflect could be good if it wasn't based on their damage dealt on the shield. It's absurd. Because let's hypothesize. Let's say you do a Oberon that does 44k into a shield. The shield breaks, but Oberon will still eat 30% of his 44.
Yeah.
Right. This is how I read this.
That's still.
But that's irrelevant.
Low, right?
You still lose your unit. Oberon is more than likely still alive because his base HP covers him, essentially.
Even if you reflected 30% of the 40 whatever K, you only deal 16k back. He's still alive.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
And that's if you did it off the whole frick. That's why Reflect is just pointless. It's
not Reflect though. It doesn't reduce that because Reflect reduces damage.
It should reduce.
It doesn't because
oh no, it's not Reflect. It deals damage back.
It's worse than you think.
Even worse.
It's worse than you think.
Okay, next unit. Fuck this shit. It's even worse than Reflect.
It doesn't even reflect.
God damn it.
I'm trying to like defend it somehow for no good reason. I don't own it. I hope I never pull it. I say that and then she's gonna get buffed to like the best unit ever.
Yeah.
But there's no like odd situation where you make it work, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
No.
So
next.
light one, power creeped Kraka. So grants, God, this is like a paragraph. Grants endure and immunity on the ally target for 2 turns and resets the cooldown time. Yep. If the skill is used on a dead ally, the ally will be revived with little HP, whatever that means. The cooldown time will be increased by 2 turns, which is the cooldown of this skill that you're using, Light of Truth.
Yep.
But grants the same effect as when used on a living ally. I don't know why that needs to be said. That's obvious. And however, Light of Truth is not affected by the cooldown increasing or decreasing skill. This is so wordy for no reason. Like,
but it's a good skill.
I appreciate that though. You know how great it is to drop an LD5 in RTA, and they're like, "Crap, what does it do?" They go and they hover the skill, and it's just all right, no, man,
fuck it.
I'm not putting up with this.
Yep, not reading that shit. There's so many extra words in here that don't need to be here. Like, however, Light of Truth is not affected by that. Like, what do you mean? However, just say it's not affected by that.
Yeah, I know.
However.
But it's a good skill. I actually think this is a good skill. Actually, this is a good skill.
Yeah.
Don't tell me it's not.
This is a great skill. Yeah.
because they cannot be put on cooldown. This is not common enough in this fucking game right now.
Yeah.
No.
The amount of cooldown units. I was thinking about this, but this is not a topic for this right now. Hopefully I won't forget it next time we decide to have a conversation. Maybe we'll bring it up at the end of it. But this is a good skill, long story short, where you can actually bring somebody back and not get cucked by Oliver. Well, until Oliver's nerfed, we hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
And S2 still ass.
Yeah, it's that same. S2 is the same. Heal 15, shield 15. That's it.
Wait, what's
same
the
S1, heal a little bit.
Oh yeah, the Oblivion, yeah. Already forgot what the other fucking S2.
So yeah, what do you think, Stoic? What do you think of the light pure vanilla?
I mean, I know Zed's really happy about it, having two of them.
Yeah, he back-to-back scrolls. He pulled two light pure vanilla.
He is overjoyed of the impossible odds of getting that.
I mean, again, I feel like I'm hovering over first and second skill, and I like if someone plays this unit, I still don't care.
Yeah,
it's just not like oh crap, like what threat is this? And it's just I just don't see it as a threatening unit at all. Second skill, really don't care about, and then the first skill is just the Rukuni first skill. I don't care about this unit at all.
Yeah. No, I
the
kind of agree.
Good. The skill is good though. Just everything else makes her suck. This is the opposite of like where a unit sucks and the passive is great, so the unit is great.
Yeah.
This is the skill is great, but the rest of it sucks, so it doesn't carry it. If it was a passive somehow, then it'd be it's still not a thing.
It's a weird one because
it's almost there.
This skill is like it's a 1 turn longer cooldown ventilate, basically, with the added effect that unit can't be killed unless they get stripped. It's really weird. They actually nerfed this skill before putting it live into the game because this is one of the units that they showed us originally. Yeah. And she gave invincibility, and then when they released her for real, they gave her endure instead, which is just substantially worse because now you can get that unit down to 1 HP and then kill them with a strip skill, but not oracles. Remember that, people. And you, but I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's hard to judge it. I mean, Ventilate's one of the best skills in the game, but it's also because it's on a unit where it's S2 to it's also having a really strong S3.
Look at the rest of the utility of the Ventilate.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's the issue here. I wouldn't draft it for its third skill.
But that's its only skill. That's its only skill. Yeah. So I don't know.
That's the only reason.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's going to be. Like, one thing when it comes to supports, it's almost always the case of what's alongside them. And I do think, like, if you're fighting a super overpowered team that has Nephthys and, like, really powerful, like a Maximilian or something like that, this thing can make that Maximilian invincible for 2 turns and give it its wombo combo back. Like, you can get womboed by a Maximilian twice while having no chance of killing it because it has endure and immunity on it. Like, so
you burn your strips.
Yeah, it all just kind of depends. You know, it's a support, so it's never going to be the reason why someone wins.
Some siege use here, like definitely some siege, maybe arena use out of this unit. I can't think of a single unit right now in ATA where its first skill is trash, its second skill is trash, and a usable third.
First skills are so important, especially like.
I don't think their S1s are that
glancing, bad, I think helps us here. Like, as made up as glancing is, like, just do something more.
Yeah,
I think
I understand they're all supports though, which explains the first skill.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, look at Rukuni; it's the same. Like, we don't see Rukuni, and Rukuni's got an even better second skill than this.
Yeah,
don't make me bring out my Rukuni, so I'll bring it out just to fight you. Yeah,
will that get you to
G1? This is a wait and see. This is a wait and see for me. I don't really feel too strongly either direction with it.
She's almost there though. I can say that.
Yeah,
she's almost there.
We're gonna see her use the arena leader skills though, which is nice. I like that.
Yeah. So next one up is the unit that will be getting a speed awakening on the next balance patch, almost guaranteed. So third skill. Removes all beneficial effects granted on all enemies, decrease their attack speed for 2 turns, and absorb their attack bar by 15% each. Pretty cracked out skill. Same S2 as the water one, where it's just an Oblivion, nothing else. Pretty cut and dry, and then same S1 heal. It is important to note that this third skill does not make contacts. You cannot use her on Despair, which fucking sucks.
It does this. It does this.
Yeah. This would be.
I wouldn't say it sucks.
No, yeah, but good against Ragdoll, you don't have to worry about hitting and crit.
Here's the problem. It sucks because of this unit's base speed. This would be a Despair unit, right? If you try to put this thing on Swift, you are never outspeeding me. You're never outspeeding anybody. You're never outspeeding anybody with a Sekhmet. You're never outspeeding anybody with an Escher. Like, you have no shot. This base speed is way too low.
So you're talking as if this is 2023 and she got her speed awakening. So she's not there yet.
People are still using
Tiana, I'm saying you. I'm saying
a lot of Tiana, but
no. What I'm saying is you'll never. If you're using this, you'll never outspeed anybody. So it can't be Swift. Mm-hmm. So the next natural set for an AoE stripper is Despair. She doesn't work on Despair. Her skill doesn't touch. So now your next natural set is Violent. Look at those base stats. Also, she awakens into resistance for no reason. Yes, I know. All of her skills require accuracy. And she has a 96 base speed. But guess what? She awakens into resistance, not accuracy. Wonderful. So good fucking luck building this thing on Violent.
I forgot about that Res Awakening. That's what it's a real big knockback on her. And I don't know why Comptos still does this shit till today. Where it's obvious between speed or accuracy is her awakening. If they gave her accuracy awakening, you can't really complain that she didn't get speed awakening. But now it's on the table where okay, the res needs to be removed for either accuracy
it's one or the
speed.
other.
Why res? What is the one logical reason that this would ever awaken into res? I don't get it.
I think Comptos believes that Oblivion is like the end all be all, one of the best negative effects that you can apply on a unit. And there's argument for it being one of the best because of how many passive units there are in this game. And I think they looked at it and they're like, wow, this third skill's really, really good. Oh, but we're giving it Oblivion with the second skill. Like, yeah, this thing's really, really good. And then they're not even thinking about the first skill because they all have the same first skills. So it's like, we can't make this too. It's an LD5. I do think they should make LD5s good. And I think this is the case where we should have been looking at 96 base speed or more. The resistance, I think, is their way of saying, like, let's not make it that good. And they did resistance.
Yeah, but now it's just
so hard.
It's the impossible unit. Like, you physically can't be Despair because she doesn't touch. You physically can't be Swift because her base speed's too low. And you physically can't be Violent because how the hell do you build that? You would need like a 35 speed slot 6 accuracy to ever make this thing work. Like, what the hell? I don't know how you use this thing. I mean,
you can use it on your Scuffed Swift set just for certain turn 2 teams that run the Verge Ragdoll stuff, and then just have it perform its S3, and then occasionally pop out the S2. Well, not occasionally, but you will pop out the S2 S1 on Swift, just like how we use Vela. Really, it's no different than how we use Vela, but it's gonna be in that slot now. Right now, current day, she's gonna be used with a crappy Swift set or a really cracked out Vio set. But you're going to regret putting her on a cracked out Vio set because you just limited the rest of your box from having good Vio runes to justify this on Vio.
Because everything's got to be behind it because it's the AoE strip. So
that's right. So that's why you got to most likely force this on Swift. If you do own it, she does have use. She's not a horrible unit right now. She could have been significantly better, but thanks Comp to us for giving the Res Awakening. Nobody fucking wanted it. But she has it. So if you own her, put her on Swift just fast enough. Just barely fast enough. Max accuracy. You could probably pull off max res whether you like it or not. And then you'll use her against the Ragdoll Vela teams and shit like that. And then she has her use there. She will not be totally dead. Her S3 is kind of cracked, really. Because she'll quickly Oblivion something. Because she absorbs, not pushes back. And that's it. That's my spiel on this unit.
That's why it has to be Swift.
I don't like it. I would still rather... I'd rather use a Despair Hagang. Anything. I would rather use any Despair AoE strip that touches than this thing. And any of them. You name it. Jogun, Hagang. I'd take any of them over this. Better base speeds.
and just throw it there. That's it.
I mean, yeah, Despair's not even an option for this, but I would I just wouldn't. I would just find, like, if I had both ruined, I just think I would find myself picking Joe Gun 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you put, but if you have a crappy leftover Swift set, she can take it.
Yeah,
at least.
But this, I will say though, if this S3 ever does, okay, if one of the two things happens, if she gets a Speed Awakening, fantastic. Or if that S3 ever does get changed to where it does touch and she can be a Despair unit, this is a toxic fucking Despair unit. That is this thing has a super low cooldown. This is 3-turn cooldown, but gives you 60 bar back as you absorb it. And then she Oblivions something. Like this as a Despair unit would be a nightmare to deal with.
But it's not.
Yeah, but it's not. Sorry, guys. If you pulled it, oh well.
Jackson, Dark Pure Vanilla.
That would be sick. But yeah. So, I mean, this episode's already been super long, so we can quickly go over the Nat 4s, but
they're nothing.
Let's go over good ones, bad ones.
Yeah. So
I actually don't remember, so we actually do have to go over it.
Yeah, I mean,
the Dark Espresso is the only one I think a lot of people harp about.
Yep, and come to us. They trolled us with this whole family, so they showed us that we were getting a S1 that puts beneficial effects block. So I got super excited because I hate Steel Fortress. I don't even farm it because that dungeon is so stupid. And it has a 45% chance on a single hit to do the worst debuff in the game.
Oh, 50. 50.
Oh, that last one's 15. I thought that was 10. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so you have a 50% chance to activate
not much
on a single hit the worst debuff in the game on the S1. Yeah. Like, fuck, god damn it, man. There's units with stuns that have a higher activation rate. There's units with defense breaks that have a higher activation rate. Why is buff block being put at a 50% activation rate? That's just wrong. Like, whoever did that needs to be fired. Like, that makes zero fucking sense.
I think I met the guy in the Vegas meetup who you were saying
you should have slapped him in the face. You should have slapped him in the face.
Like, I didn't know.
You have got to be fucking kidding me with this shit. Like, the skill does nothing else.
No.
Like, dude.
So couldn't we actually use Wind Espresso with Tricara for Steel Fortress? If the first skill lands
with Wind, I mean, I would probably use. I mean, you could honestly use any of them, but like this one, Fire has the branding and the.
Well, you want to avoid when their turn does come that they do another skill that's not first. So first, second, so you want a passive in the third.
Yeah, but this skill's wicked good because it drops the boss's bar to 0. Or wait, no, it does less on bosses, right? No, it still drops. No, it still drops it to 0. It does less damage on bosses. So yeah, this is a really good Steel Fortress unit with maybe not Tricara, but just like maybe double Rauk, just because it's a wind boss. But just you're not going to use this 50%. That makes no fucking sense. Just use the dot team. Like this was pointless. But this unit has potential to be a really good PvE unit just because AoE branding, first unit in the game other than the Bay, who's an LD5. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. But
the Bay buff incoming.
Yeah. So the next one is the Water Espresso, who is kind of like a budget Tyrone. So the way he works is he attacks 3 times. That reduces attack bar by 20% each, 100% activation rate. So you get 60 bar off of everything. And then attacks them a 4th time with a 30% chance to freeze them. And this is actually a really short cooldown skill too. It's only a 2-turn cooldown. Yeah. And then has a passive where attacking a frozen enemy reduces the target's attack bar by 30%. And if the frozen enemy gains a turn, the target's HP will be reduced by 10% each. So kind of neat, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
No,
just more PoE, PvE stuff.
Yeah, PvE stuff.
Maybe for 4-star league.
Right.
No.
Yeah, the wind one. Wind one's super weird. You're immune to sleep, and when you take a turn, you gain either increased attack power, increased defense, or increased attack speed.
Why? Why not all of them?
This is
why not? No, like
why not
what
all
about
of them?
team? That should be like, well, is it too good to buff your team?
No, with a random buff? No, that's not too good. That'd be fine.
Oh, then I would have loved that for Tricaru then. Like, just get a big defense buff for your team, or even attack buff, whatever. But like, just defense buff for your team would have been like sweet.
And same second skill as the water one. It just stuns instead of freezes. Yeah, this is just like the Smeargle of Summoner's War, where like every time Smeargle takes a turn, he gets a random stat increase. That's this thing. Light Espresso is actually kind of cool. Attacks all enemies, decreases their defense for 2 turns, and increases their cooldown time by 1 turn each. And that's both 100% activation rates. So kind of cool.
Pretty sick with the 99 base speed.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay. Right. I mean, it's okay. This is the only one that I could see potentially making his way into RTA.
I tried the dark one. I did play with the dark one. You know.
Yeah, I gave it a shot too. So the dark one, same S2 as water and wind, 4 hits, 60 bar off each, 30% chance to stun. Third skill, attacks all enemies 3 times, so big multi-hitter, except it then evens out the ratio of HP and attack bar of all enemies, which I find is actually really detrimental in RTA specifically, because most of the time in RTA, you're funneling your damage out the gate onto one unit. Mm-hmm. You're going to heal that unit if you S3. Like if you drop one unit down to 20%, while the rest still haven't really taken much, you're going to heal that 20% HP unit back up. And that's almost how every RTA match goes. Like everyone... Yeah. You pick your target, you know what I mean? You try to get all your damage in to one particular target, try to get to a 4v3 as fast as possible, and this unit just kind of does the opposite. So, I don't know.
So, if you're feeling bad for your opponent, you use this unit.
Yeah, you can heal him.
Yeah, heal him.
Yeah,
throw him a bone.
Last family, the Madeline Cookies, another Nat 4. Super interesting mechanics. So, they have 3 of them have a second skill that calls upon Celestial Light, while under the Celestial Light, your first skill will attack all enemies. So your first skill turns into an AoE, and you're immune to inability effects, and then you lose this buff when you take 50% of your max HP. So the Fire one, he has a passive that when his HP is above 70%, he attacks twice. So if you're above 70%, you get your buff up. Your S1 is a double hit in an AoE, but in the S1 is a 50% chance to reduce attack bar by 30%. So I don't know.
Which is, I think it's gonna have some PvE use with the Trickaroo. I think
could
but it has Guild War leader skills, so that's kind of off the list.
Yeah,
kind of, but not totally. And then. We don't know. I don't know personally his AI for like if he moves first in the team.
Does he always do this? Yeah.
Does he always use S2? We don't know. I don't know. We can know. I just don't know.
No.
I want to know why weren't these the Nat 5s? I wanted these to be the Nat 5s so
bad. They look so cool. I love this family so much.
They look like they belong there, but yeah.
So next one's the water one. Same thing. Has the buff, turns his S1 into an AoE. Except he has this really out-of-place passive that is just Garrow's passive, where when you take what would be a killing blow, you remove all harmful effect, and you put up your S2. I don't really get this. I don't
Water and Diana just sees him as a snack.
Yeah, I don't understand. This is just so out of place. Like the S2 is supposed to be setting up like big damage, but then like he's got this weird defensive passive that has a super long cooldown and just protects him from one singular hit of damage. I don't know.
They dropped the ball with the wind units. The wind units are just every cookie, every wind cookie that came out. All right, I'm sorry, gingerbread's pretty good. But that was it.
Yeah, the only thing I will say though, this new wind unit for the Madeline cookies is actually like one of the best arena offense units now, because he's the first ever unit to give attack power and crit rate buff while increasing attack bar. Oh. So I
okay, I was about to say, well, Antar says it to himself.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Seek does it to his team, but he doesn't give bar. So I actually use this unit now in arena offense to... Now you can rune all your Lucians 70 crit rate. In my case, Grogan, 70 crit rate. Just get huge ass damage, and he's a booster, so...
103 base speed is pretty good, too.
Yeah, pretty good base speed, too. But that's really all this guy has for viability. Cleave is completely useless in RTA. That's such a weird
kit for the style unit, though.
It's so random.
You look at it and you're like, wait, he got like a pure vanilla, sure.
Yeah, he's a buffer. It's weird, yeah. So, next one is Light. Same S2, turns his S1 into an AoE. Mm-hmm. And when he attacks, he silences enemies for 1 turn with a 50% chance, and then recovers HP equal to 15% of the damage dealt.
15.
Yeah, too inconsistent. 50% chance to silence.
That's like why.
Plus an act check. Ugh. And it's a 1-turn silence, so they can just proc or... Nah.
Very useless.
Yeah, I pulled this one too. I'm not super thrilled. And then my boy here, I actually really like this unit. I've been using it in RTA.
Oh, you pulled this one too?
Yeah, I pulled everything but the light espresso.
Oh, the one you want.
Yep, literally the one I want. So this guy has an S2 that is pretty good. It's a double hit, stuns, and heal blocks, which is fine. And then he has an S3 that is a double hit, does huge damage, actually. And and each hit has a 100% chance to do a 3-turn defense break.
It's just pretty good.
That's super... This is like the most consistent defense break I think I've ever seen, because he's a dark unit, can't glance, similar to like a Galleon. Mm-hmm. Gets 2 chances, 100% activation, and they're 3 freaking turn defense breaks. So...
I think this would have been a great opportunity for a collab where they introduced more LD5s, where the 4 stars had a LD version 5 star. So like they're all 4 stars, but then light, dark. So we would do a dark Madeline, and then a light Espresso, and those would be the Nat 5s in those ones. I think that would have been a great opportunity for it.
Give them some
really hype up the collab, because you're like, our Nat 5s obviously have LD versions that are Nat 5s. But then, like, that would have been insane to have, like, this even more. Like, people would have wailed even harder knowing that there was technically more LD Nat 5s in those scrolls.
Yep. Yeah. And this is how I've been using this guy. I've got him on Despair. He's got pretty short cooldown, hard-hitting AoE double hit, so he's pretty good. I've been using him with Tomo. If I get a single stun and defense break onto one particular target, then I just spread it to the rest, drop some bars, and then crack him on the next turn. He's pretty solid. And then the last guy up, I fucking hate this unit. So,
don't say that. So cute.
So this
is Obama's such an advocate.
Kawaii.
This unit sucks. So this is the free unit that they gave everybody. Close to being one of the worst units in the set, other than that Wind Pure Vanilla. So what this guy does is he gains 30%, or he gains 30 speed when he's at full health. So beginning of the match, you can basically just consider him a 140 base speed unit. Sounds crazy, right?
Sounds good.
Second skill, strips 1 buff and does 1 turn of increased cooldown.
On a 2-turn cooldown.
On a 2-turn cooldown, yep. He'll never survive those 2 turns, but it's there. And then attacks the enemy to stun for 1 turn with a 65% chance. This unit is
pretty not bad.
So this unit currently has the lowest win rate of any unit picked in RTA. The last time I checked, it was like 23%. He's just so bad. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, in a Swift battle, he's just like a Sekhmet, except has no other skill of any use outside of his turn 1 reset, just like a Sekhmet does, but then Sekhmet follows up with a crazy S3 and S1 that attack breaks, etc., etc. He, in a battle where it's not a turn 1, like let's say you want to build this guy on Violent because he'll be a really fast, easy to tune Violent unit, it's a 1-turn cooldown. If you're in a Violent battle, you have to land your strip, land your increased cool time. That's only a 64% chance to happen that you actually get it. Then they get their 22% chance to just proc and completely negate it. And then it's just like, he does no damage. He's super squishy because he's an attack type. Everything's wrong with his unit.
Did you play Cookie Run Kingdom?
No.
I never played. So was Ginger Brave in Cookie Run Kingdom as a solo unit? Because Ginger Brave in a 1v1, I think is amazing. I'm curious if like that's what they were trying to do. Like, I don't know if he played a certain role in Cookie Run Kingdom where you only used the Ginger Brave and he just did his thing. So they're like, yeah, he's the unit everyone's going to get. He's going to be amazing in the 1v1.
Yeah, maybe. But unfortunately, we play 4v4. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This unit's so bad.
I didn't know if that's what they were doing with
it. And the other thing to note, too, is his passive. His amount of speed gained is based on his current HP condition, which means you may be faster than Sekhmet the first time you move, but then as the game goes on and you start to lose HP, the Sekhmet just catches back up in speed and is now just faster than you and lapping you. So it's like, you don't even get to keep that 30 speed for the whole game. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, this unit stinks. I don't even know what else to say. You guys can get it.
Poor Ginger Brave.
Poor Ginger.
The Arda of Cookie Run Kingdom.
Where are you getting Arda from, dude?
Arda's the mascot of Summer's War.
Oh, I see. Yes, in that sense, yes, you're right. Yep. I feel like he's just not good into comparable Swift units, though. Like, if they only have Swift and you attack this into a Swift unit, and they don't, I get it's only a 1-turn cooldown, yes, but if you can like shut down a Calm, like if they took a Chiwu or they took any other speedy, like even into a Moor or Chiwu is their only strip, and you take this into that, they leave it, you cool it down, you know that they're not going to Vaya or anything. Does he not fill that role pretty well now?
No, he sucks. Because the devil's advocate to that though is like, there's a reason why Sekhmet is really, really frequently used, and it's because like games of Summoners War now are super difficult to win off of just a first turn, right? Like that's why Swift comps, for the most part, pretty awful right now, right? Like it's really difficult to seal a game on turn 1. So the reason you use Sekhmet is because her S2 is fucking phenomenal. It's one of the best S2s in the entire game. So like she goes forward into the match with way more viability than Ginger Brave. And then the other thing too is, because of the buff that they gave Sekhmet, as long as you're taking one buff off the thing that you're aiming for, you have the same cooldown as Ginger Brave.
That's kind of true.
And if you miss, you get to do it again immediately. So, steals all buffs, full reset, same cooldown, and if you miss, you get to try it again. Like, it's better in every way.
He's always faster. He's gonna almost be always faster than Sekhmet or anything like that.
Took Sekhmet years to get to this.
That too. And then I guess that's really it. That's his only true edge, is that he's really fast. And he can do a strip 1 turn. I didn't even know that was a 1 turn till now.
Yeah.
A 1 turn cooldown.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with that.
Well,
that
Ken received buffs, so there's no reason why Ginger Brave won't receive a buff.
He's gonna have to. I mean, unless they just want him to never ever get used. I don't know.
Not good for the COLLAB, I guess. But he won't be buffed by then.
The other thing too, and this is like just me nitpicking, artifacts don't do anything. He has no good artifact build either. Like, he does no damage. He has no multi-hits. You can't get any use out of damage dealt. He's too squishy, so you don't get any use out of damage received. You don't get any use out of additional damage. You want to max accuracy. It's like,
Attack to lost HP. What do you mean?
Attack to lost HP.
It goes with his passive.
Yeah, just double down on his passive.
Double down. It'd be insane. He'll do, instead of 2k, 3k. It'll be great.
Yeah, screw that unit. I don't know. You guys can.
So harsh.
I'm salty, dude. I've picked him. I've currently, as of right now, I've picked him 10 times. I just showed you guys the build. He is 0 in 10.
Not his gumdrop buttons.
I hate him. Every night I try him a couple games, and then I just end up having to like do some rage wings to try to get my points back because it's just an auto loss every time.
Oh my god. Oh, poor Gingy. At least he looks cool with his facial expressions, right?
He does laugh when he stuns people, which is kind of funny.
He did emotes on your behalf. That's great.
Yep. Which is good because people can shut off emotes now. I hate that. Yep. I want them to know that I'm upset with them.
Day one.
I want them to know I'm upset.
Yeah. I hate that.
Yeah. That's true though.
Damn it, Comptos.
That's fucking.
But yeah, do you guys have any closing thoughts? This one's gone long enough. Our longest podcast ever.
What? Are we hitting 2 hours right now?
Yep, pretty much.
Oh my god. I thought our last one was gonna be the longest one ever, then all of a sudden the next one we topple it. God damn.
So yeah, I mean, any closing thoughts on the collab?
At least some of them are usable in RTA, and some of them are usable in Siege. They're not as. It's good that we get to play with them right away. That's a benefit. So that any kind of patch input we want for them can be done sooner than later.
Yep.
And I guess that's it. Too bad Gingy sucks. I'm very upset about that.
Exactly. I think we're in a position where we're better than when we had the Street Fighter collab. Comptos learned and, put us in a better situation where we know all the units are going to receive a buff, but now we actually get to play and test them, which means that when they buff them, maybe they'll have a better idea on how to make the changes to these units instead of making it on the fly like Street Fighters were.
Yep. All right, sounds good. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for joining, Stoic.
Thank you.
And see you guys next week. Peace.
Good night. Don't do drugs.